Right. Here we go.
Oh, 1 second. I nearly forgot to put headphones in.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
I'll keep it rolling. But I can't remember where I put my headphones.
Alright. Might leave this in as an outtake.
There, I got my headphones here. They'll do. They're not as insulated as your traditional earpods, but they seem to have gone to the void. But alright, I'll just turn on the volume a little bit. So, okay, now we're ready.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah?
Yeah, hear you.
Okay, here we go. Hello everybody and welcome to the Overton Audios podcast. My name is Connor Chadwick.
And I'm Daniel Patton.
And on today's podcast I will be talking to two writers of Doctor Who Resurrection Season 4, of which their episodes are coming out this month.
And then we'll be discussing future audio plans and also the future of audios and Overton Audios in general.
How have you been, Daniel?
I have been pretty well, to be honest with you. It's been a good few days for me. How have you been?
Well, to give everyone an update, and including, well, I've told you before we started recording anyway, but a couple of months ago, both my ears blocked.
Oh, dear.
They've been blocked ever since, until 3 days ago, where one of them unblocked.
Well, that's good to hear, because for audio making, you would need your ears, I'd like to think.
Yeah, you'd think. But in all fairness, they've just been like, the way I describe it is that they've just imagined someone holding your hands over your ears all the time, to a point where it's changing the pressure. But I've been very much appreciative of sound now. I'm still going into London to work. The London Underground has been noisier than ever before because I can hear it now. And forewarning, any audios that we make that are coming out early next year, if they seem a little bit loud. I listened to one of them that I edited whilst having both ears muffled, and one of them I was just like, bloody God, my ear.
Maybe just
So
put a
loud.
quick disclaimer into the description of those audios, just to say, you may want to adjust your audio settings.
I can't do that though, it will sound ridiculous. Hello, during the production of this audio drama, a deaf person edited this. It's like, what? It doesn't make sense. So, yeah, but I'm really happy to have sound back. As a result, when I recorded the other segments of with talking to the writers that we're going to hear in a bit, my ears were still muffled. So I don't know how my voice sounds, but now at the moment I can hear my voice perfectly. So that's a positive.
That's good, yes.
But yeah, Dan, you and I, Dan, have been looking at making big life changes, haven't we?
Yeah, I've been looking into apartments. You've been looking into houses, and
haven't we?
What?
Daniel?
What life changes are you referring to, sir?
Daniel.
Chatters? Hello? Yeah, that's what I'm saying as well.
Alright, well.
Hello?
Well, you know what, we'll leave this in. Well, anyway, so Dan has disappeared.
Hello?
I'm not sure why, but essentially hopefully Dan's leaving it recording, and we're going to do another clap sync in a minute. But basically, what we're talking about in terms of having a different, I don't know what else to talk about now because Dan's not here. Okay. Right, so Dan's gone to go for his AirPods because he, hopefully I kept that outtake at the beginning. Oh. Yep, okay. Dan is still recording. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know how much of this I'll cut. I hear movement.
Can you hear me now, sir?
I can hear you, sir, yes.
Thank God.
Why did the headphones stop working?
No, the headphones still did work, but the problem was that there's like an internal microphone that must have popped.
Oh, right, so they just weren't working.
Yeah, I was recording that whole time, so I was like hearing you. The thing is, I was talking as well about moving out as well, so I'm glad we're on the same page, despite the fact you couldn't hear me.
And then when I started going, Daniel, you were like, oh, he can't hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've already said my bit whilst you were rushing around for new headphones, but you and Auntie are planning on moving somewhere else soon, aren't you?
Yes. We're just looking for apartments around our local area. Just because we lived here for a while, university, and now we sort of want that independence back, and just like, you would say about stigma with like people in their mid-20s still living with parents or relatives.
I mean, I'm not trying to I know that everyone's situation is the same, but I've had friends of mine who have said, I've got friends of mine who are 28, for example, and feel really bad that they still live with their parents. I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, personally, for myself, my mum was always into the stigma of, I don't want you to be 30 and still living with me, or just living with your parents when you're 30. I know I've still got 5 years left, but I thought there's no harm in looking and trying to, because I want that kind of independence as well. Like, I've always lived with a parent. There was a time for about 3 months in my second year of uni where I did live by myself, but it wasn't by choice though, and I also lived in a place filled with damp and mould, so I don't exactly have my first great experience of living away from home. But then again, if it was perfect, would I have learned anything either,
Yeah.
And I didn't have an appreciation of money, because I was like 19 or so. I don't want to use age as an excuse, but even though I was like, I'm an adult now, I wasn't acting like one when it came to money. I just enjoyed being able to have that freedom to buy anything I wanted, but not actually thinking about the fact I need to save. Other than that, Dan, what else have you been working on?
Well, I don't know if I could really talk about this, but I've been like currently looking into sort of like making some physical CDs of Uncharted Pass for the cast.
Yeah, I've seen some of the videos you've sent me of like the booklet and the actual CD. It looks really nice.
Yeah, I might share them with Instagram and the Facebook, but I'm worried when I do that they're gonna be like, oh, where can I purchase this? Where can I purchase this fan produced unlicensed content?
Yeah, exactly. There's actually been an issue with that before. There were some other fan filmmakers that were going to Comic-Cons and selling them for about £5 each, which is still quite cheap when you're selling something like that, but they would donate all of the money to charity, and that's how they were able to get away with it. The only problem was it did come up where the licensee, which is the BBC, were then asking, why you're still gaining the money from it. So there was a bit of and even though there was charity involved, they weren't entirely appreciative of the whole thing.
Yeah. But who knows, I might do another giveaway eventually if there's demand for it.
That's what I was going to suggest. If you did a giveaway, just like the poster giveaway, but it's more of a CD one.
Yeah.
See, because do you know what I want more than anything? Because I'm very grateful for those of you who don't know who are listening. I made a visual series, Red Matter Productions, called Waterside, and Dan, being the beautiful man he is, sent me a poster of the final series of Waterside. So every time I look at it, I do feel a lot of warmth, because it's of a time where there was a lot of stress, but a time that I'll never forget, or really 100. Well, I don't 100% regret it, just financially, but I'll never regret those times because they were good times. But I know that, Dan, you've actually made some posters from Fractured Timeline that you can buy as well.
Yeah, and the Redbubble, I've made it in a way that I don't get any profit from it, so it's all above board.
Yeah, but it will probably go to the website, won't it?
Yeah, it goes. I think it goes towards just the manufacturing of the posters.
Oh, yeah.
It's a print on demand service, so
yeah.
I might make some
want
more.
One of the candidate. I so want one of the candidate.
Yeah, the candidate, Born Darkness, and the Spark. They're all there. Great quality posters. I want to make more. I want to make more of artwork of.
Do some Uncharted Past ones.
Yeah, I want.
Like, do like some textless versions or something like that.
Yeah, but the problem is when I made those, then make those for ready for print quality.
Oh, is there any way you can convert it?
No, because it's far too late night. The
Fair.
pixel density would not convert well.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. But basically, if anyone out there has studied graphic design, you know exactly what I mean when you pixels is going from 72 to 300 dots per inch. It will just ruin the quality.
Yeah. I can imagine. I don't fully understand it, but I can certainly understand what you mean. Like, in terms of like project files or something like that. You know, if you set a project file for certain footage and then someone imports the completely wrong footage in and it messes with the setup, I can completely understand it from maybe that perspective.
Yeah, but I didn't make the Irish Doctor and Companions poster. I made that for print, and that's available on the Redbubble.
Oh, there we go. Send me the links, and I'll make sure to put it into the links below for this podcast.
Yeah, understandably, like,
probably make a note
the prices.
of that somewhere.
I mean, the only thing that would deter people from it is the pricing, and unfortunately, I have made them the cheapest I can get to the stage like no one gets money from them. But at the end of the day, that's just what the website service costs.
How much is it?
I think it costs about £8 for a poster.
Okay, well that's still not bad. £8 isn't too bad. I thought you were going to say something like 20.
I'm not sure. I think the price varies depending what size you want.
Obviously, yeah, it depends. It depends on the person as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you are there any Resurrection season 4 cover arts that you've made for print, or are they just all interactive digital?
Interactive digital. Because when I made the season 4 cover art, so when I sent you the template for the season 4 cover arts, all those were for just like digital, like online use. Where I have now since I think from when have I started? I don't know, but like I made the switch from volume 2 to volume 3 of Uncharted Pass. That's around the time I switched from 72 to 300 dots per inch. So anything after volume 2, I think that I've sent you is 300 dots per inch that could be printed.
What, for like Uncharted Past?
Yes.
No wonder they would look so much higher. I thought to myself, there's a lot more detail in these ones, and I'm like, no bloody wonder, you can print them out.
Yeah, and now you just spoiled the quality of Volume 3, the Volume 3 cover arts.
Well, I didn't say what's on them.
Yeah, we'll just read them. Well, you have said
if anything, it's a good selling point.
Yeah. Prepare for yourselves for highly detailed cover arts.
Yeah, spoilers, you are receiving very good cover arts. Yeah, so anyway, as I've mentioned, Resurrection Season 4 cover arts. Shall we move on to this first segment?
Yes. Who are you talking to in this segment?
I'm talking to two people in this segment, not at the same time, they're in two different times, but I'm speaking to Thomas Aiden James, who's written episode 3, which will actually have already come out by the time this is out, so even better. And then I'm talking to John and Harper, who's written episode 5 of season 4, which will be out in a week and a half from this release of the podcast. So, enjoy, everyone.
Did you remember everything?
Yes! Now, please. I need to concentrate if we're going to get out of here. No. No, that can't be right.
And now I'm here with Thomas Aiden James. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing alright, yeah, if that's alright, yeah.
Yeah, oh, good. Well, yeah, so we started planning for this, how long ago now? About a year?
Yeah, I think it was around about Easter last year, I think. No, I think it was, yeah. I do remember writing it during the summer, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember, for me, it was... I remember you sent me a couple of concepts. In fact, both of them are being used, actually, in Season 4.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The concept of the man at the end of the street, and then the one that is episode 9, which I think is coming out in September next month.
Yeah.
We used them both to just split them apart so that it's not back-to-back and everything.
Yeah.
Talk me through the idea process.
Oh, well, sort of the ideas behind, like, how I kind of got through episode 3 was just sort of like, I don't know. I had this nightmare. Like a couple of days before I'd come up with the plot of episode 3 and that, and I remembered when I woke up like that I'd heard this kind of whistling sound, and I thought, oh, that would make sort of like a good Doctor Who story and that, and just imagining that there was actually a person at the end of the street and that, and like when I was thinking up the plot and whilst writing it and that, I'd honestly just think about if this to happen in real life, but just try and keep the fictional aspect of it and that, like because in real life basically he'd just be whistling and that, but the fictional aspect of it, you can kind of add a bit more of an edge to that, and you know you could make him more like a mercenary or a killer and that, and just add in the whistling as sort of a background element of it, and it worked well. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think within the context of the episode, it's quite creepy though.
Yeah. It's very much like the drawing of a weapon, or like the scraping of a shoe or something like that. It's very much an episode that's kind of outfitted to the audio format.
No, you belong on the battlefield, don't you, soldier? Again, the whistling could be a defense mechanism, the only thing that was left from your original form. But why whistle in a war zone when fighting? The bomb. It wasn't you whistling, was it? It was the bomb that killed you from falling from the sky.
Here's the thing: when I was writing it, I didn't even know about sort of the character of Carly when writing it. I completely didn't know.
Yeah, I was keeping my cards. I was keeping my cards close to my chest for that one.
Oh yeah, of course. But yeah, and regrettably, I kind of wrote a really kind of just wrong, because I didn't know how the character was and that, and
Well, no, exactly. I didn't exactly give you a great brief anyway. It was just that she's from Earth and it's from 2003, but nothing to do with the.
I actually didn't know if she was from 2003. I think you didn't tell me that.
Oh, blimey, even worse. Yeah, I think especially for the whole World War II soldier, because it's more fresh for the people from that era.
Yeah.
It's more like, obviously, I think you could have, like, either way, if it had been set in present day, you could have had an elderly man. But I think the fact that the street was so sort of new after being rebuilt, and having a World War II soldier coming around murdering people, it just makes it feel more fresh and recent,
Yeah.
As a result, it has that kind of. I think as a result, it heightens the fear factor for the characters, because it's still quite fresh, and even though it was. By the year it's set in, it's been 18 years since the Second World War started. It'd only been 11 years since it ended, so it's still very fresh in terms of recovery. I know it took a very, very long time for the country to recover. So having that, and then having the threat sort of re-emerge just over a decade later, is not going to be very. It's going to be very unsettling for the people in that era.
Yeah.
So I still think it holds up quite well in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but all right then. Well, thank you very much for making yourself free to be in this.
You're welcome.
And we shall go back to the rest of the podcast.
Papers, please. I said papers, please. Right, Sunshine, that's the wrong papers. You need to be in that queue.
Doctor, how much longer in this queue?
Well, I would say maybe 5 minutes.
It's way too early to be doing this.
Well,
And here we are with John and Harper, the writer of episode 5 of Doctor Who Resurrection Season 4. Hello, John.
Hello there.
It has been a while since you were last on the podcast. Well, if you're listening to these back to back, it's only been 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's sort of like, because these are monthly, so a lot of time has passed, but there's not much of a wait between them, you know? So yeah, it's all fun.
Yeah.
I love doing a podcast. It's always fun.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking more specifically about the episode that you've written for Resurrection Season 4, which isn't actually out yet, so we'll keep spoilers to a download. But I have mentioned in the previous podcast that it is a Torchwood-based episode.
Yes. And, so the idea that came from it is sort of, I wanted to make it a bit more like a shady government organisation when I wrote it, because I remember just thinking, like, Torchwood's always been, like, this sort of, like, CSI, but I wanted to make it more of a shady government organisation because obviously technology that doesn't exist in the public domain comes up in the episode, and obviously when you listen to it, you'll know what that technology is.
How odd.
What is?
That's an electronic buzzer. They aren't commercially available yet. Then again, I suppose this isn't a commercially available place.
Right.
Something simple, that we use every day, turns up in it, but it's set in... Are we allowed to say when it's set?
It's set in 1914.
Yeah, so it's set in 1914, but obviously there are bits and bobs that appear, and also it's a bit of a whirlwind for Carly, because she gets to just sort of see how the world is, but obviously it's not her world. But it is, it's a bit of both. So,
and it's a world at the brink of war as well.
Yeah, quite literally. It's a world at war, and it's sort of like, it's just a completely alien experience. But there is a bit where she's, just like, this is really similar, but different. Because obviously, with the passage of time, everything stays the same while also changing. It's sort of like, it's a bit of a weird paradox right there.
Oh yeah, there's for example, there's a bit we can talk about, which is buses.
Oh yes, of course. I wanted to mention that, but I was too scared to.
No worries.
But yeah, so buses. So she's, when they're riding in the bus, and she's just like, wait a minute, this is like, back home. But obviously, it's completely different. You've got people walking around in suits instead of, jeans, and women wearing dresses instead of crop tops. And it's a completely different experience, but it's the same mundane thing that we all do every single day. Well, would have done if it wasn't for what, and
oh dear,
on the bus, and it's all that.
Yeah, and of course, as well as that, they need to get something from Torchwood, don't they? Because obviously, this is the Torchwood before.
Yeah,
this is like old Torchwood that just want to hunt the Doctor, because it's in the early 21st century.
Yeah, so
oh
my word, it's the year 2014. No, but no, it's exactly what he says, where it's like they are after the Doctor, and obviously because the Doctor is the Doctor's in a bit of a pickle, so he needs to nick a bit of equipment, so it's a bit like an undercover job gone wrong. And so, and it's there are laughs and goofs, and am I allowed to mention?
Yes, it's incredibly very funny when Carly gets punched around the face, isn't it?
Oh yes, indeed, very funny. That wasn't what I was talking about, but
yes, I know, but of course.
Yes, what I meant, I'll say, is there's a rat in it. That's just. There's a bit of communication with a rat, so that's fun.
It's a bit of communication.
That can go in the quotes. There's a bit of a communication with a rat. But yeah, so it's just fun. It's just a fun little story. It's basically a bridge from the previous episode to the next. So there's a bit of a journey there, and it isn't an overly important story. So it's just sort of like it sets up things with Torchwood, but it also sort of just it gives a bit of development for Carly, while also just sort of letting the Doctor get up to his own little nonsense as well. So
yeah, because I have mentioned that this episode has, because we've written it, but for the audience's perspective, it will lead into an actual Torchwood audio drama about that Torchwood team in 1914.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
In the Torchwood audio drama that follows this, we do actually expand the team, because we only see 2 Torchwood members.
Yeah.
In this audio drama, because we don't want to clutter it. The main characters are meant to be the Doctor and Carly, so having Torchwood appear
in that realm. And obviously, I've actually had a few questions about this when we started the podcast. Just to be completely clear, this isn't going to affect or be any major plot hole or problem for the other Torchwood series that's been done by James Sutton.
Oh yeah, because
Rebirth.
Yeah, he's making a Torchwood series. Is that set in the modern day? Is that set now?
It is. It is. It's set. From what I'm aware of, it's set during Series 5.
Okay, good.
Which is like 2019. So this is 100 years in the past, and it's meant to be obviously it's 100 years before Children of Earth. So it's very classic Torchwood, but we're not going to do anything in it that affects.
It's going to be.
I know there's been a bit of confusion when we announced we're doing that, and there's already one in the works, like a visual one. I mean, but in terms of the actual episode, I've typically seen that. From what I personally enjoyed about the script that you wrote was that there were certain elements in the story where basically they have to think on their feet. They can't just use the TARDIS. They've got to think more of that. It's more of an attempted heist.
Yeah, a bit. It's a bit, yeah. Because obviously, when they try and get what they need, it's sort of like, oh, well, obviously no one's on our side. It's not in the time that any of them are helping me, because obviously this is around the time when, I think, like we said, the Doctor is being hunted. So if he goes anywhere near it, they'll be like, oh, 2 arts, you're in prison.
But well, then again, it works for that context because this is the year 1914. And realistically, they've only been open for 40-odd years or so, in comparison to how long they are actually going to be open for.
Yeah.
So it's still relatively, even though it isn't, if 40 years is still a long time, it's very early days still.
Yeah.
So for them, they just know the Doctor to be wearing a pinstripe suit.
Yeah.
And Converses. Whereas my Doctor's shown up. Yeah, whereas my Doctor's shown up in a waistcoat, cravat, and long coat.
So they're like...
And is blonde and significant and is with someone different. It doesn't fit the bill at all.
Yeah. So they're a bit just like, And
as well as that, I really like the play on the title. Because obviously the saying from the first Torchwood series was outside the government, beyond the police, but the police used to be called peelers back in those days.
Yeah.
So we've called it outside the government, beyond the peelers.
Yeah, I like that, and it's a nice bit of old Cockney that I like. It's just nice. It's just nice.
Oi, governor.
All right, governor, you're out, mate.
Oh yeah, it's very nice. It's there's no high concept sci-fi elements. It's literally they're trying to get from A to B, but Torchwood are involved.
And it's just fun to really involve that, because I mean I love stories of the past. So I love exploring cultures of things that everyone's familiar with now, and then just shifting the clock back, and then we get to see, like, even if it's just the 90s or the 2000s, that was a very different world to what it is now, and it's just fun to explore the past. Because the future is amazing, and we like to think that it's all neon, high-tech gadgets, but really, it probably won't be. And the past that we already know of is much more fun to explore, I think. For me personally, anyway.
Well, for starters, there's more certainty about it because it happened.
Yeah, that's true. You don't want to make a prediction and get it wrong. It's like Doctor Who: The End of the World with 2 Patrick Troughtons. It was just where it's like it's meant to be set.
It's not End of the World. It's Enemy of the World.
Enemy of the World. Yeah, where it's like
that's set in 2018.
Yeah, it's set in 2018, and it looks ridiculous. Obviously,
well,
you understand.
As well as that, in Enemy of the World, it's set in the year 2018. And we've just gone through the fallout of a nuclear war, which, in all fairness, he almost got accurate. Very okay. Anyway, so that was that was John and Harper.
Yes, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave a like and subscribe, and I may be back. Just say that you like my episodes, and then I'll be allowed to write more. There you go. Please, thank you. Well done.
All right, well, let's get back to the podcast then.
Goodbye!
Well, there we go. I hope all of you enjoyed that. It's got a few little preview clips here and there. I'm really glad that people are enjoying Carly.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when Luke Newman was listening to it, and
listened up to season 3, and he said no one can replace Julia. And I was just like, this is always the reaction of a Doctor Who fan when a companion leaves. They cannot be replaced. No.
Until they
no one else is good
are.
enough. Yes. But then I sent him episode 1 a few weeks early because he was really desperate. And he all of a sudden came back going, I love Carly. But that's the thing is...
It's just he realised the gold mine that was Overton Audios. And then he just and then I think he became what people are with Netflix, how you binge watch through Netflix shows, but then you realize I've gone through all this year's content.
Oh yeah,
and I have nothing until.
I'd be hugely surprised if anybody were to sort of turn around and say, "Oh, I listened to all the 2019 releases in a day." It took so long to make them; it'll feel very much like, oh.
I think Netflix feels.
Yeah, but with them, their entire business model is binging.
Yeah.
It's their entire business model, Netflix and chill and all that. But shall we have a little read of the comments? Did you want to go first, or shall I?
I don't really have that many, so I'm not, because I'm not a content machine like you are, Chatters.
Okay.
I don't make things far in advance, but I've got a few that we can discuss very briefly.
Okay. I might as well stick with all my comments first then, and then jump over to you last or something.
Yeah, I think that'd be better, actually, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to be reading comments from the latest 2 episodes of Doctor Who Resurrection, Season 4. So starting with episode 1, Creatures of the Deep. Michael Cox has said, excellent. Saffron Self really gives a solid performance throughout. A great beginning to her era as the Doctor's companion. Which obviously, that's what I was just talking about, how people have really nicely, been really nice and and she's been well received as well. Then another comment from I think it's Jeevan John, who says the Cravat Doctor has the coolest theme. So sorry, Daniel. Damn it. Moving on to episode 2 now with the Sontaran Elite, which is one of my personal favourites of the series. Michael Cox, again, saying another fantastic adventure for the Doctor. Congratulations on casting Saffron Self. She really put in an excellent performance as the new companion. Another comment from Elite Comic Nerd, Penny L. I've been binging all of the Cravat Doctor stories over the past few days. They've even given me even more motivation / inspiration to write my own Doctor Who audio stories. Great work. Well, I'm never sure how to receive that sort of compliment about how I've inspired others, because I don't think about that at the time, you know?
No, you really don't, and
when you're... It's not a complaint, I'm very, very grateful, but when you're just making something because you want to make it and then you inspire others, it's a nice, heartwarming feeling.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we've always had people inspire us. It's sort of weird to put yourself, even to consider yourself within that sort of same sort of, same sort of position where you're inspiring others. But at the end of the day, I think we're sort of passing on the same inspiration.
Yeah, exactly. Got 2 more comments. One comment from Jeevan John again, saying, I swear these audios are just amazing. They're far better than mine. I did actually reply to that, and I just said to him, don't put your stuff down like that. We're all at different levels. With more time put into your craft, you'll be amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I've been doing them non-stop for 2 years. I've become part human, part audio drama at this stage. And having listened to all 20 years worth of Big Finish, I can spot their editing.
Yeah.
And how they do certain how they write. Again, it's like what we've discussed before in other podcasts, where a lot of people will mistake audio drama writing for exposition. Well, in actual fact, you are giving the audience the necessary information to understand what you're doing. So, when you're running and saying, through this door, you're only saying that because in the audio nobody knows there's a door there. Whereas in a visual story, you would never need to say that because people can already see it. It's just like a whole informational thing. Once you crack that, you're fine.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely, because the thing with audios is that it's all basically expositional, whereas where visual meaning you show not tell, it's completely the reverse. Nearly completely the reverse with audios, because you can't show, so you have to tell.
Yeah, precisely. And the last comment I've got is from Professor Provolone. It says, I like that it seems like you're trying to make these episodes around the 30-minute mark. 10 to 15-minute episodes have always bothered me. I just don't think 15 minutes is enough for a story. Which I can agree with. There are some stories, like, for example, the curse of audio dramas when you're writing minutes to page. You always say one page is 1 minute, but it doesn't work like that always. It depends on the pacing. So there are some stories I've written that have only been 12 to 15 minutes, where they're actually 25 pages. What we really tried to push for what's also, like I replied to him and said, this is the first full series where I've actually had more than just 2 writers on it. There's a different writer almost every week. And it's because of that it's been able to remain fresh. Whereas when I've been doing the other, like when I've done series 1, 2, and 3, it was mostly me. So of course I was burning out of ideas, and whilst I had the passion to write them, you may not notice it, but when you're writing constantly, the episodes end up getting shorter because you're burning out of fuel and you don't realise it. So what was helping was, because I'm a bit like RTD with my scripts. What RTD would do is when people would write scripts for that era of Doctor Who, he would pretty much go through and rewrite them. Just copy them from the page into his own document, and he'd tweak things as he goes, which is what I've been doing. As a result, as I've been writing it and going through this process, it felt like I'm coming up with new ideas, and I integrate them in that moment, and then I kind of work from the rest of the script and see if that point I added will affect anything there and tweak it as I go. So, for example, episode 4, Schiller's Delicatessen, which is coming out a few days from when this is released, that script, the concept is still there, very much still there. It's just that the circumstances regarding that situation in the story have changed. So there are new scenes added, and certain backstories of big characters who are appearing in it are also different, but ultimately it still stays the same and keeps continuity.
Yeah, I will say as well for that comment, I don't want to come off too aggressive when I say this, but I don't think that's correct. I don't think it's a correct statement to put that you can't have a story in 15 minutes, because to me, my favorite story from Uncharted Past is Volume 1, Episode 5, and that's 14 minutes, where so much happens in that episode, but it's only 14 minutes. The fact is, there
are some stories that have got more, well, you know what I mean by high concept. There's so many layers to peel back. It would be like if this story, The Sontaran Elite, was only 10 to 15 minutes. There's so much more that you could explore there, whereas if you push to make an unexpected circumstance 30 minutes, it would just be filler, because it is a very small, concise story about one problem. There's not even that, the cast isn't even that big. It's really small dilemma. Obviously, it's a big dilemma for people, especially the Doctor, but ultimately, it's a very contained story.
Yeah, and I have tried to push the story to where it can be 20 minutes, but I felt I will lose the essence of what makes this story so layered and what makes it so complex in its themes and what's happening. And in a day, it's, to me, an unexpected circumstance is about the drama of losing someone and having to deal with the consequences or the unexpected circumstances of that action.
Yes.
And to me, what makes it's so short, at the same time, it impacts you so much more because you don't expect all this.
100%. 100%. Overall, though, I like that there are some stories that I feel should have been longer. There are still some of those, but it's just unfortunate with how the script translates.
I agree.
But there are, of course, I'm not saying at all that there are obviously going to be some stories that seem too small and could have more done to them. But then again, not every story has to be so short.
yeah, I can name a few stories I've written in the past that I could tweak, go back on. I cut pages and pages of worthless dialogue or worthless exposition, because But anyway, we're all growing as writers. When we're making stuff, we're also learning from stuff we've made before.
Yeah, exactly.
So you never truly stop learning, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. So, what sort of comments have you got?
I don't really have much. As I said before, I am not a content machine unlike yourself, chatters. I'm just going to go quickly through the comments I just want to address, and some of some older stuff, like the Uncharted Pass Volume 2 trailer. It came out in January, the 1st of January this year. Basically, I'm asking, how is Dav Ross alive? He was killed at the end of the Fall of the Doctor movie. And I can say, just like, Dav Ross is an entity you can't really kill. They tried in Doctor Who to kill Dav Ross before, but it never succeeded. Like, we discussed this before, that we see Dav Ross die at one point. We see him die. Like, visually.
Resurrection of the Daleks.
Yeah, Resurrection.
He literally gets infected and dies, and you watch him die. It's like with Genesis of the Daleks, you see him get shot. Well, you see his hand as he gets shot, but you never see a body. Obviously, it's implied he still died anyway because he got shot, and everything in that situation makes sense that he got shot. And then Destiny of the Daleks, where it follows on from Genesis, you see his body again. At the end of that, he gets frozen, so he's not even dead. And I think all the other times that we've seen him supposedly die, it's just been really like a scream and with fire.
To be honest, at the end of nearly every Dav Ross story, it's implied he dies in some capacity.
I mean, in The Witcher's Familiar,
it's probably the only time he doesn't show us explicitly that he dies.
Yeah, he's just kind of left there with the sewer goo at killing the Daleks.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they'd go for him. They probably would, to be honest. He's the creator, but they never. He's just left in that room to deal with the problem. He's not actually he's not being infected by it or anything like that. He's just left to, he's left to deal with it.
Yeah, which he will, because he's Dav Ross. He's immortal. I think.
Well, yeah.
I think it's sort of like it's nearly sort of. I don't know. I think. I like how we sort of like, I don't think we intentionally do this, but in Retribution of Dav Ross, we did sort of subvert that with the idea that it's open-ended, but with Dav Ross choosing a slow, painful death or a slow, painful life.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, he's given the choice between his enemies finding him or him being collected by the Galactic Federation and arrested.
Yeah.
So we all know, like, Dav Ross. It's up to you. It's up to the audience. I like to think, because we're all kind of in an agreement that at the moment is where we will leave him at his furthest point.
Yeah, because that is the furthest point of Dav Ross. That this Dav Ross has seen the Cravat Doctor. He's seen other doctors past the Irish Doctor. This is the first time. There's no lineage to Dav Ross's stories, but this is the furthest we've seen him so far, so it's up to interpretation if you think what he chose.
Right, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sort of
left up. It's left up in the air about it, really.
Definitely, yeah. And there's become more comments. I'm going to Return of the Rani, and TARDIS Glitch says, the Rani in this was brilliant. I want to see more of this Rani apart from the candidates. If more incarnations of the Rani appear, I want a crossover with them all. It would be incredible. Well, luckily for TARDIS Glitch, the Rani will eventually return again in Season 4 of Resurrection.
Yeah, in fact, in 3 days as of this release.
Oh, fantastic. Even more so. A multi-Rani special. I don't know what to say about that, other than.
Well, in fairness, it'll be completely different from the Doctor and the Master, because the Master is all about destruction, and the Doctor is all about saving. It's all about saving the world or any world or the universe from destruction.
Mm.
That there's always something bad going on. Whereas with the Rani, she's firstly and foremost a scientist. So she's not looking for conquest or any such like motives that would relate to any sort of ultimate power. She serves the science. So if two Ranis met up, I just imagine them in like a lab working together. I don't actually imagine
they wouldn't be seeking out for revenge against the Doctor. They wouldn't be seeking out to...
No, there wouldn't. I mean, I'm sure there'd be some revenge element there. There's always going to be some sort of revenge element, but she, ultimately, from the way that at least I've written Kate's Rani to be, she serves the science. Like the Doctor's a nuisance who keeps messing with her work, but she's not going to spend then the rest of her working life trying to catch him. She's going to try doing something else and hope that he doesn't show up.
Yeah.
So, like, as far as I'm concerned, if two Ranis met up, it would be the Doctor accidentally stumbling in on them when they're in the middle of doing an experiment together, which isn't such a bad idea now that I think about it. But I'll keep that in my pocket. I will keep this in my pocket for now.
Definitely.
But yeah. Have you got any more comments?
No, I don't have anything else to really discuss because again, I don't bring out that much chatters. But before this, last month I was literally last month I was still working towards getting a degree. I have now since got my degree, so I've only had time to work on stuff.
Yeah. In that case, before we get into the next section, we'll very quickly play a trailer for the next release after Resurrection Season 4. Which is another time traveller volume called The Final Act. Here's the trailer. Overton Audios presents.
Was this doubt at this point in the mission?
What mission? We got to break into Fawn Court building and use most of their weapons to change the past.
I've lived in the future you're about to experience. I cannot be there.
Keep all guns on them at all times.
This isn't necessary.
You killed 5 of my best men getting out of here. You are very, very important to us.
Turn around and face me. I'm armed, Crimson.
Robert, you always are.
She needed support.
She had me, her brother.
It was in little James Whitfield.
Oh my god, it can't be.
I decided to involve myself in the enhanced program because we need more like them.
We need to stop Thorncorp's plan to create enhanced individuals.
Time Traveller, The Final Act, coming the 17th of October 2020 at 12 p.m. Well, I hope you enjoyed the trailer. That's coming out in October. I just thought with us doing a segment previously, I can't keep going on about Resurrection. It's got to be a bit of a mix-up, you know, Dan?
Yeah, definitely. And it does seem exciting, the final act, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing it when it comes out.
Yeah, that one's set in a weird time, though, because so far all the 2 previous time travel volumes have been set within the years of the visual series, whereas if those of you who've watched the visual series will know that the end of Series 2, which is set in 2015, the finale is actually set in the alternate future of 2950, where this volume is set. It's more of an origin story to the main characters that we've seen in the series 1 and 2. Because it's time travel, it's kind of like a reverse loop type thing. So it also introduces the reprisal of Pete Adams coming back to Audios, because he left acting at the beginning of 2018, and he was just wanting a break because he'd been doing a lot of filming and a lot of recording, and which is why ultimately James Carpenter, the character, got recast as James Riley.
Yeah.
But now Pete, I've been over like when we recorded the final act, it was Christmas last year, and I was talking to him about the ideas we had, and it's audio based, and then because we have been trying to meet up more. We've been able to make some sort of agreement that we'll record for half an hour. We'll meet up somewhere and record for half an hour, and then we'll spend the rest of the day just catching up, chatting, hanging out, that sort of thing. So it's a nice balance where we still get to catch up as friends, but only spend like a small fraction of the day doing a bit of recording.
Yeah.
Which is
Sounds
good.
great.
And then, of course, we've got Donal Borg-Neil, also reprising his role as James Whitfield. He did appear in one episode of 2014, but as we know, he stops being in Time Traveller from the end of Series 1 of the visuals, so he's not in 2015. So it was nice for him to also get his origins in as well. And, of course, we've got like Commander Tom Brandt. We've got all these characters who we only saw really in like the other two people, who were Agent Nathan and Commander Tom Brandt. We've only ever seen them in the visual series in 1 or 2 scenes. It's great to be able to adapt on them as well, and they complement the characters we already know, whilst vice versa are heightened with their own development as well. So I'm looking forward to when that comes out. But yeah, in terms of what we were going to be talking about, like the future of Overton Audios, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I'm planning on moving out soon. As a result, I've been able to put quite a bit of money into this audio drama lark, because obviously when you're trying to make something, unless they explicitly don't care or mind, you should be paying actors to do it. The problem is I make so much that I'm burning through the cast so quickly. So as a result, money comes into it, and I've just got to a point where it's not completely sustainable, because I'm not making any return on it. I'm making it for fun, but I am putting money into something that I'm not getting back. So effectively, it's a loss, and it's got to a point where the loss is stopping me from moving out. So as a result, we've actually started recording. We've got 3 more projects which are coming out halfway in the first half of next year, which I'm still going to complete. But from the middle of next year, effectively a year from now, the style, type, and frequency of anything I make audios-wise will go down. Because when I move out, I've got things to think about. Like at the moment, I'm in a good place living with family where I don't have to do everything. I still manage my own stuff, but I have to manage everything as well as my work life and also social life when I move. So time will just get more and more condensed. So I've been thinking, with regards to the Cravat Doctor, Resurrection Series 4 currently is the last series with the Cravat Doctor. Plus, the title doesn't quite make sense. Because, especially in Season 4, there is no real resurrection in it. It still obviously follows, like with Uncharted Past and Fractured Timeline, they all have, every episode, you can see how the title relates still.
Yeah.
Whereas with Resurrection, it was called that in Series 1 and 2 for obvious reasons. And then Seasons 3 and 4 have been kind of what's left over from those big events. And at the end of Season 4, we're at a stage where it is like an end of an era, especially the Christmas special that comes out later this year. Although I'm not saying it's the end for the Cravat Doctor, I've got a load of audiobooks, narration-based stories planned. I'm not stopping. It's just full cast audio dramas will go on pause because I can't make this much.
Yeah. With
money involved, especially. I've got to do a lot of saving and a lot of just a lot. I've just got a lot to do, and I won't have time. Obviously, there's stuff I'm still writing and stuff I've still committed to doing, which I will still be doing. But for example, I'm still keeping the full cast audio dramas around for some projects. It's just we've now made so much Doctor Who content in full cast form that I think it's good if we let that have a bit of a break and focus on more shorter, singular stories that have certain characters narrating them.
Yeah.
Like we could do, for example, we could do stories with different companions narrating them, and then stuff, with the doctors narrating them. You've got all sorts going on there.
Definitely.
Whereas, and meanwhile, like stuff like Time Traveler, we've had this plan now for 2 to 3 years of what we're going to do with it, and I'm still fully intending on doing that, but because obviously we'd have to still space out bits and pieces, but ultimately you'll still see Time Traveler. I know that more people are here for the Doctor Who stuff, but we're not stopping Doctor Who either. And I've certainly needed a break after Resurrection Season 4, and we were having plans in motion for certain things, but for certain projects, Doctor Who wise, I know that, Dan, that's stuff that we're still even just discussing the beginnings of. But for now, in terms of what I'm doing, I need to I also need a break. I need a break as well, because when I'm not working, I'm writing or editing or recording, and then when I'm not doing that, I'm working. There's no. For the past 3 or 4 days, when I've not been working, I've just been relaxing, and I'm still in this horrible feeling of feeling really bad that I'm not working on something. But at the same time, I know that I'd be stressed and shattered and all sorts of bad things.
I completely agree with you, mate. Yeah, and I think it's about time you get some nice, much-needed Connor time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I've got pretty much every release sorted until a year from now. And, I was freaking out about the Christmas special for Uncharted Past not being ready. And it's July now. It's been ready for about a month or 2.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the I don't know if I think we announced this after the podcast, but the DW 2012 7th year anniversary audio special we're doing.
Yes.
I freaked out because that's coming out in September. I'm recording this and making it in June still, but ultimately we still got it done, and it's been done now for a few weeks again. So for me, I just feel like I can afford to take a break for a bit, and I might take a break for a couple of months or so.
You definitely.
I'll still be probably. Yeah. I just need to figure out what I'm doing post full cast stuff. Well, I think the occasional thing every now and again isn't a bad thing, though.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I don't think the full cast stuff needs to end, but at the same time, it won't carry on with the consistency it has been.
No, yeah, I think we just need a break and want to move on to stuff. Like when I was editing, I've been editing some audio dramas that are just me having narration, and I quite enjoyed the swiftness of how quickly that was completed. And I just thought maybe I just need to do a bit of that for a while before I jump back into like the full on stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? Because obviously I've just been rambling for the past 5 minutes.
Well, I think it's a good idea, purely because you have been working so hard, and we've been chatting between you editing season 4 of Resurrection, and I could just tell how exhausted you were, and I think by the time that was finished, I think you said to me, he's like, Dan, I think I'm getting too old for this. Getting too old for this.
Yeah, I need to inject some youth back into my life.
And it's been a year, and I still don't think you fully recovered from the workload that was season 4. So I think you definitely need some break to get some R&R, and just to evaluate what you truly want to do.
Yeah, because I'm actually it's a good point to take a pause now, because obviously you and I are working on the last volumes of Uncharted Past anyway, and then I've been working on the last stories of the Young Doctor adventures. So in a way, it's all kind of still working out,
Yeah.
It's like everything's feeling like an end of an era type thing anyway. I don't want to remove Doctor Who content from my channel, because ultimately most of the people who are enjoying my audios came through the Doctor Who story, so I wouldn't want to disrespect them by going, no, we're not doing it, and I expect you to stick around, you know? And obviously I know that ultimately I didn't want to disrespect the audience that way by just erasing something they enjoy. I still want it to stick around in some shape or form, because a lot of people have still been liking the short tales that Luke's been heading.
Yeah.
Even though that's narration, not that that's a bad thing anyway, but with that being narration, it's thinking, well, why can't I just push on and do that whilst I have a break from doing so much full cast stuff? Because I'm not making any financial benefit from it at all, other than just my own like personal satisfaction.
There's that, yeah. I think stuff like how sort of not short tales itself, but sort of like same sort of production of it. So like just like narrative audiobooks rather than audio dramas.
Yeah, audiobooks is the right term. Yeah, for me, it's just a case of needing a break. It's only been 3 days since I decided this, and I've just been a bit worried about thinking it's the stupid thing of not wanting to come across lazy.
Mate.
But ultimately, I'm not looking after myself either, you know?
Mate, I don't think anyone's going to think you're lazy for just wanting to adjust.
We're getting into it, so this is getting really deep, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I end up saying. It's like, no one's going to think you're lazy, because at the end of the day, I have seen the schedule of people. I have seen what this man has done. If you would have seen any normal person who has done what this man has done, what Connor Chadwick has done, would have gone insane. And I've gone insane just by looking at what he's done, and what he's got planned for towards the end of this year and towards the beginning of next is actually really, really is going to be some of the best stuff he's going to be putting out. And you definitely deserve a break for that. And it's not laziness to want to adjust your workload after working so hard for the last year to produce 2 years worth of content. That's insane. That's what. So mate, don't think for a second that you should feel lazy. And I don't think anyone, and I don't expect, and I hope no one does think you're lazy for just wanting to adjust yourself, because life is getting to that stage now that you're moving out and you want to be able to be financially backable to pay rent or pay mortgage or something like that, because at the end of the day, we're all still human, and these are just fan productions.
Yeah, the only thing I hope is that, still I'm from the people I've spoken to who enjoy the audios I make, I like to think that they, as well as other people, will still be grateful for what I've made and not think, we want more, how dare you, and all that sort of stupid stuff. Because ultimately, I'm really proud of what like I've been able to do in this time. Because not a lot of people might know this, but the only reason why it got to this stage and this scale is because when I was working somewhere, I was working on this construction site, like constantly there, and nothing was ever making progress, and I hated being there, and I had to stay in where was I again? I was in a little place called Camberley near Berkshire, and I was staying away from home 5 days a week, and I was only at home on the weekends, and repeat again. I wasn't happy, and what's even worse is when you're on this site, it's in the middle of nowhere because of what kind of building we were making. And so I had no signal, ever. No internet, nothing. So I was just completely closed off when I was at work. And I'd always finish early and have to wait for the bus. And the bus could be hours sometimes. The bus being like the bus that would take us to the site office. And they were only running at certain times because of, again, the circumstances of the building. So I would just have to sit down with my laptop for a few hours. I think I wrote half of the 2019 releases in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and it's just
and as well as that, I'd just come off of making Waterside Season 4, which was incredibly stressful, and it just felt like there were always boundaries pushing backwards and forwards about, like, because, we want to make sure that it's perfect, but I kept thinking it was at a good stage, and then other producers were saying no, and it was just very stressful for that as well. So I just wanted to write something that I wasn't going to be criticised for. And that's where this came from. It came from a place of just wanting to be able to make things freely, but unfortunately, the sad thing is it's now sort of turned into a job.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think when your passion feels more like a job, that's when the passion for it dies.
Yeah, I've still got passion for certain volumes, but honestly, and I know I joke about this, but ever since Resurrection Season 4, I've never fully felt inspired to carry on with any stories with the Cravat Doctor again, because it killed me so much that I really want... I kept thinking, yeah, I've tried writing stories for a potential 5th season, but I've never got further than the first few sentences, and even then when I read it back, I can't feel anything from it, you know? It just feels like I've had to come up with something on the spot rather than something I already have planned or have passion for. So I just need a bit of a break for a little while, I think. And it's been I finally finished all 13 episodes in March, but we technically finished the finale, episode 12 of the whole thing, in November or December. And then the Christmas special was just a nice little shorter project rather than the big half-an-hour stories.
Yeah.
And even then, even excluding that was fun to edit anyway. It was nice to look back on it, but still, it wasn't... I still haven't quite found enjoyment that I can write it again, you know? Luckily, since we put out the first podcast, a lot of people have been wanting to write for us.
Yeah.
So that's been helpful. But, yeah, is there anything else you want to add to the podcast?
No, I don't think I have much else really to say. Other than it's been good chatting with you, and I'm also really excited for the final act now from the sound of that trailer. And also just a bit shocked with the news, but at the same time, I very much support your decision, Connor, and I think as well, everyone listening to this should support you with what you decide to do.
Oh yeah, the problem is, of course, I won't know what I can do until I actually have moved out. Right now, at the moment, when I go to work now, I'm not buying anything. No water, no food, no anything. And when I get home, I'm immediately just trying to find food. So for me, I'm trying to save as much as I can, so that when I move out, I will know where I am with things. It'll probably be a few months into me living somewhere else that I will be able to know fully what money I have left over. That some percentage of that could go over to audios, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just sort of like you can't invest everything now.
No, I was investing way too much. But now that if we bring it back a bit now, there's that opportunity to be able to do more with other members of the cast, you know. But in all essence, we've still got releases coming out until June 2021. In 2021, they're weekly, whereas aside from Resurrection Season 4, they're bi-weekly in this year. So you still got at least probably 100 audios before you really start noticing the difference. So my only thing I want to make clear is that I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of any audience.
No.
But
I don't think you are. I don't think you are at all. And I don't think anyone else would get the idea. Because at the end of the day, it's just like you've prepared this year and next year's content in advance. And in that time, you could generally just let that all come out, and you can just live your life for the next 2 years, and you still have things coming out. You set up things in a way that you can step back.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you ever know, like, they may not even notice a difference for all I know. You know, if things really, really work out, and they work out for the best. I'm just giving everyone a good warning now, rather than telling them later. But I'm giving you 11 months' notice, essentially. But if things really, really work out, then you won't notice a difference. But right now, I can't be sure until I've actually moved. So I thought I'd just let everyone know now, so that I can kind of begin planning for other things just in case.
Definitely, yes, definitely.
But yeah, anyway, I don't know if we've got anything else to talk about on this podcast. Have you got anything you want to mention?
No, I've not got anything else I want to mention, so shall we conclude?
Yes, well, everyone, thank you very much for listening. If you've got this far, and next month I don't know what we've got planned, but there'll be something there.
Definitely be something. There's always something.
There's always something. So thank you very much for listening, and I bid thee a farewell. Goodbye.
Goodbye.